not singing opera yet.
Yeah, I know, right?
We'll get there.
Keyword there, yet.
Yes.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, and anywhere in between. This is Through the Smoke at the Canyon Tobacco Shop here in cozy Little Canyon, Texas.
Fantastic place. If you're ever here, stop by.
Yeah, it's the Hole in the Wall Club is pretty much our constituency here. My name is David the Funk Master Footle.
I am Bobby, Lord Master, Chester Masters and Esquire the Third, Fabian.
And I suppose I shall introduce myself as Mr. Jesse Jones. I'm the resident pipe maker.
I think the only one, technically, because you made a pipe.
I'm almost done with it.
Almost
getting there.
I have also attempted to make a pipe.
Yes.
Didn't quite end too well because it's still sitting unfinished as well. But mine's been unfinished for a lot longer than yours, Bobby. It's been
6 months.
2 years. 2 years. And in that time, Jesse, you have made how many pipes?
Oh, 50 or 60.
50 or 60. Okay. Not bad. Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad. We would like to point out that Jesse Jones here does have a website for his beautiful handmade pipes, jonespipes.com. And go check it out.
If you need any website work done, I'm your man. In fact, I'm working on Photoshop right now, developing our very own logo. That's besides the point. My main thing is websites, not Photoshop. It's a little rough.
I'm the resident scientist, I guess you could say, because I'm studying arachnids. All those creepy crawly things that drives one of our other castmates who will be here a little bit later, Eric. Even mentioning them kind of makes him squirm, which is really funny.
Yeah.
Because he's a big burly man, and seeing him squirm is an interesting thing.
It's very true.
So, I was in Walmart yesterday, and I saw in like the $5 bin the 4-movie collection of all the Tim Burton Batmans.
Really?
And I know those movies have brought up a lot of points of contention, switching Batmans, like the lead actors, and you know them being really, really stylized, the Batmobile being so beyond how physics should act, having to use the grappling hook and all that stuff to turn. But it did make me think of something else that when I saw today some behind-the-scenes work of The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is also Tim Burton, he called that. Like, he called everything in that movie, because just think about when it came out. It came out a long time ago to where we are now. And
It wasn't that long ago.
yeah, I guess.
Like, I remember when they came out. And I'm not an old
True.
man.
But it was the mix of Halloween and Christmas.
Yeah.
And when did Christmas decorations and Christmas stuff come out this year? Around Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you would go through the stores and stuff like that. So like he almost foretold the mishmash of wintertime cheer in October, and it was
Kind of like The Nightmare Before Christmas.
yeah. I'm still in that nightmare yet.
Yeah, well. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Fair enough, I guess. As you can see, we have plenty of vices here on the table. I'll start off with mine. I am smoking a Padron 7000 Maduro. It's a 6.2 inch by 60 ring gauge cigar, and so far I have enjoyed it. I've smoked a lot of Padron Maduros, and one thing I've tend to found is that by letting them sit in the humidor for a long time, they get better. much better than they were initially.
Oh, that's good. That's fair.
And what about you?
I am smoking a Nording by Rocky Patel. It's a fantastic cigar. The size and ring gauge elude my memory at this time, but yeah, I'm a pipe smoker. That's my thing. Good cigar though, nonetheless. Jesse?
This is one of Upman's latest. It's the H. Upman Legacy, Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper. The size is a Toro, so 6x54. Nice, sweet finish, long finish. kind of nutty. I'm really enjoying it. Really even burn. Haven't had to do any relights. It's a good stick.
How many of those have you smoked before?
This is only number 3 that I've smoked, but they've all been pretty consistent. I know my father-in-law likes them quite a bit. He used to smoke the Upman Maduros, and I guess their consistency just wasn't as good as it used to be. And Upman has been traded hands. I think General Cigar owns them now. But he was looking for a stick to replace his Upman Maduros, and I turned him on to these Legacies, and he likes them so far, so we'll see if he sticks with them.
What did you rate the last ones you smoked?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Probably in the high 80s, low 90s.
High 80s,
Here
low
somewhere.
90s?
There you go.
Now, do you go by the cigar aficionado grades or your own?
No, I kind of go by my own mishmash.
Mishmash. So then why'd you pick like 80s, 90s?
Well, I felt that I needed a 100-point scale to really capture the subtleties, if there were any distinctions. I find the more cigars I smoke and the more in a hurry I've been, I'm thinking about cutting it back down to a 10-point scale. We'll see. I think it'll wax and wane with time.
Well, you smoke cigars a lot slower than I do, so.
I do. I've been probably smoking this one for about 40 minutes.
Yeah. I'm probably down to 5 inches now on this 6.2 cigar, and I've been smoking it for 15.
I keep letting mine go out, so I'm going on like 2 hours. It's I looked it up. It's a Robusto, so it's a 5.5 inch by 52. I've got 2.5 left, and it's been about 2 hours.
What's the wrapper on it?
It is a Nicaraguan, actually. Fantastic cigar, very earthy. It's also a pigtail. No need for a cutter. Good stuff.
Is that the one you got at the Kansas City Pipe Show?
No.
No. Didn't you get an Ording there?
No, I brought an Ording with me.
Oh, that's right.
It's
Okay.
an Ording anniversary that
Ah.
we never got around to smoking because we were too busy smoking pipes. It is a pipe show after all. What do you expect?
Yeah. It was the first pipe show I went to.
Yes, we broke you in right.
Yeah.
Yes. The first of many to come.
Hopefully.
Oh, it will happen.
Do you want to, at some point or another, make a trip up to the Chicago show?
I'd love to go to the
Yeah.
Chicago show. I don't know how that would work with my work schedule,
But it
since
would be
we're
fun.
really, really busy in May, right around the time the Chicago show is.
Do you think that you're ever going to get enough quantity of pipes to actually show at the Chicago show?
Who cares about showing? I just want to go.
The thing is, though, I feel like your budget is going to be more restrictive of that show than anything else. 'Cause you're
Right.
going to see a bunch of pipes that you want to get.
I mean, I bought some awesome pipes at the Kansas City show from what I sold, the 11 pipes that I brought.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I walked away with a Jeff Graysick, a Brian Rowley, an Abe Herbaugh, and a Todd Johnson, just, oh my god, on what I sold my pipes for.
I guess I can't.
Yeah, that's 10 to 4.
Yeah.
So,
Well, nonetheless, I guess I can't say much. I walked away with a feeling and a pretty killer calabash.
your calabash is awesome.
We'll bring that up one night.
It's about as big as your head.
Yeah. It's very much a Hans Landa calabash. It's spectacular. I'll bring it up one night. It'll be a crowd pleaser. In more ways than one.
Speaking of Oy Vey, it is the 7th night of Hanukkah, and me being the only Jew,
Token Jew.
the token Jew, I decided to bring down a little festivity. We have some delicious Manischewitz here. It didn't come in any smaller bottle from where I was buying it from. But we seem to have made a good dent in it.
We'll make a bigger dent.
Yeah, most likely. Besides that, we are drinking. We have another vice. We're drinking, and have the, I think it's Deschutes.
Yeah, Deschutes Brewery Obsidian Stout.
Yeah, from Oregon.
Oregon.
Yeah.
Oregon. Bend.
Oregon. And I'm enjoying it. Did the bitterness mellow out for you as time went on?
No, I found it pretty bitter.
I don't know if my palate is changing, but I've noticed, for me at least, it seems to be losing some of its bitterness. But that could be just a fantastic pairing between the cigar and the beer.
Well, that and also you are becoming more accustomed to it. It's
No.
yeah. It's not as creamy as normal stouts.
No.
Which we have a Guinness to chase after this.
Provided, if I had to guess, is that the resident mixologist, bartender type person, it has a lot of roasted barley and malt to it. So if you're looking for something that pulls a lot of bitterness, not from hops, but from other grains, this is definitely a good choice for a stout. Having such a heavy reliance on your barleys and malts, it can be pretty bitter. They've toasted them very heavily, but it has a nice, nutty, chocolatey finish from the very end. So, good stuff. You should look into it.
I'm enjoying it.
I quite like it. I think we need to bring up some old Rasputin one night.
Oh gosh, I have yet to have it. So the old Rasputin, the blood, like blood
Motor oil.
curdling, is thick. I mean, it looks like you can smear it on something.
It's. I think in a bind I could run it in my car's motor oil.
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff though. I feel like I could probably subside on it if I didn't have any food for a while. It would be a good meal.
The
replacement.
caloric intake alone would probably be enough.
Yeah. Sadly enough though, most dark beers have less calories than light beers.
Really?
Because- well, the deal is in the toasting process they cook out
Oh.
everything. Guinness, I want to say ounce for ounce, is lighter than most lagers as far as calories is concerned.
Yeah, this is per 12 fluid ounces of Guinness draft, according to this can. It is 125 calories.
It's not bad.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like there a lot.
Wait, what is it like Miller 64 and all of those Michelob Ultra? I think is 90 calories, and for all of that you get a shallow husk of a beer because there's not much flavor to it. I mean,
nothing left.
beer hinted water at that point.
Yeah.
Well, to give you an example, for a 12-ounce bottle of Lone Star, which is an alright lager, there's 136 calories. So, ounce for ounce, Guinness has
Less calories.
less calories.
Less calories.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I feel a little
Fantastic.
bit better about drinking dark beer now.
diets? Anyone?
Yeah.
The dark beer
The
diet?
dark
Yes.
beer diet.
Dark, that's why I practice it.
Let's pair it with Atkins, and I think we got a winner.
Meat,
Okay, that's
some potatoes, and dark beer.
So
Okay.
the Atkins diet is not one that's really like you haven't heard much about it as of late.
No,
Like,
not
it was
lately.
it was really unhealthy. Like people were for lack of a better term starving themselves of the fuel to keep them going, so they just started metabolizing themselves.
Yeah, like, and that was the deal. It's like starve while you're getting healthy.
Yeah.
Yay!
I mean, I had a fraternity brother of mine, and every I want to say like 3 months, he would go on a 3 to 4 day fast, and he would drink water
Okay.
and nothing else. Like he wouldn't drink any other type of liquid, and he wouldn't eat any food for those 3 or 4 days.
Wow.
And just to clean himself out. He was a wrestler, so he was kind of used to extremes.
Weight holding, yeah.
But
Yeah.
maybe it was placebo effect, but he said he felt fantastic after the fasting. I don't know.
You know, after my powerlifting career, I decided I was never going to hold weight again because I had a highly modified Atkins diet at that point in time. So if it was white, I couldn't have it. If it was dark red, I couldn't have it. So light meats,
So like pork.
mostly fish,
Oh, okay.
some chicken,
Okay.
and veggies.
And that's it.
And that was about it. No milk, no breads, no sugars, etc., to hold weight. So I was still getting the nutrients I needed to lift and run and other things like that per se. But I can guarantee you I was not a happy camper at all. I wanted to kill people all the time.
Oh man,
It
that's
was
just
miserable.
and that really does limit your diet.
It does.
No, you can get creative with those sorts of things,
And
but
I would cheat a little bit because I was still running at the time. So like, normally powerlifting meets were on Saturdays and I had track meets on Fridays. So Thursday nights, because
Pasta.
I would have bowls of mac and cheese. And when I say bowls, I mean like pots of mac and cheese. Normally, for every box of mac and cheese, I'd have 3 cans of tuna.
Jeez.
To keep my protein up.
I do not like tuna whatsoever.
Really?
Well, the tuna in the can,
I mean, can, pouch, whatever, it didn't matter as long as I could have
it's
my
okay. Because I grew up eating the really generic tuna.
No, not even like a
can.
name brand or anything.
No. Who knows what brand it was? But it was always like the scraps.
Russian army surplus
Right.
tuna.
It was almost
that.
like really finely shredded stuff.
Yeah,
And
like
so if you put it into tuna helper,
It would just dissolve.
it would make more like a really thick pasta gravy than anything else.
Yeah, like dissolved into like
Oh.
fish protein.
And I thought I was in high society when I actually bought Star-Kissed and
it was
chunks
like
of tuna
chunks.
were a little
Yeah.
What were we saying? It was like the chicken of the sea, right?
Right.
Yes,
And we
chicken of the sea.
and we should start calling chickens
the
tunas
tuna of the land.
Yeah,
Yes.
there we
land tuna.
go. Land
Tuna.
Mm.
I must go and harvest my land tuna.
Oh gosh. So I went to Branson, Missouri for Thanksgiving to see my future in-laws, and interestingly enough, we had a conversation about butchering.
Oh.
And growing up with butchering your own animals, never going to the store and shopping for any types of poultry or anything like that.
The original organic.
And my mother-in-law to me was telling me that her grandmother had this 55-gallon drum. And what she would do is she would grab the chicken by the head, swing it, and hit it right on the neck, on the corner of the drum, breaking the neck and most often breaking the head off of said chicken so that the body then landed in the 55-gallon drum. And as we all know, chickens run around with their heads cut off still, so it would just flop around inside this 55-gallon drum.
Funny enough.
And then she would just be holding the head. And then whenever it expired, she would just reach in there, and she apparently was short, so she had like a step stool, and so she would step up there, reach into the 55-gallon drum, and pick up this now blood-soaked chicken that had died by having its head brutally ripped off, for lack of a better term.
It's quick.
When there was a chicken that like they decapitated it, but they had missed barely, so the brainstem was still attached. So this chicken technically lived while headless, while being fed with a food dropper for like 3 months, because the brainstem was still there. So like all of
the neural impulses were still firing. Oh gosh!
So this chicken lived, and there's pictures of it, and they just fed it with like a dropper because it didn't have any way to eat.
Yeah.
But it was still breathing, and the heart was still beating, and things like that. So.
Was it like spurting out blood, or did they cauterize it?
I think it cauterized, like it just stopped bleeding or something. So like, I don't know. We'll look it up. Like,
Well, the reason I brought it up because I've never butchered an animal. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago.
Mike the Headless Chicken.
Mike the Headless Chicken.
18 months after his head had been cut off.
Oh my gosh, that's a bit absurd. Not gonna lie. And I love how they named it. I wonder if they named it before or after
I
the
think
head
they
was
did
cut
after.
off.
To tell the story of Mike the Headless Chicken. On September 10th, 1945, Farmer Lloyd Olson of Fruita, Colorado, had his mother-in-law around for supper and was sent out to the yard by his wife to bring back a chicken. Olson chose a 5.5-month-old cockerel named Mike. The axe missed the jugular vein, leaving one ear and most of the brainstem attached. Despite Olson's botched handiwork, Mike was still able to balance on a perch and walk clumsily. He even attempted to peen and crow, although he could do neither. When the bird did not die, a surprised Mr. Olson decided to continue to care permanently for Mike, feeding him a mixture of milk and water via an eyedropper. He was also fed small grains of corn. So, there you go. When used to his new and unusual center of mass, Mike could easily get himself to the highest perches without falling. His crowing, though, was less impressive and consisted of a gurgling sound made Afterwards, he began a career of touring sideshows in the company of such other creatures like a two-headed calf.
Mike the Headless Chicken.
He also featured in Time and Life magazine.
That sounds like the name of a very bad indie band.
The chicken earned, in US $1945, $4,500 a month. That's 48 grand in 2010 dollars. So
A month.
the chicken was valued at $10,000. That's the most expensive chicken I've ever seen in my life. And he was
Jeez.
headless.
He was headless. Did they eat him after he died? Or I would almost feel bad to do so. Like he survived so much that then he finally keels over.
I don't know.
Would you eat it? Would you eat Mike the Headless Chicken?
I would.
You would. Well, you're also the guy who goes around with shotguns hanging out of your car, exploding rabbits.
Dun, dun, dun,
What?
dun.
No.
No. Fine. Sorry. You're taking care of pests on your property.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that's-
Pest control.
Pest control. Yeah.
Oh, poor Mike. March 1947, at a motel in Phoenix, on a stopover while traveling back from tour, Mike started choking in the middle of the night. The Olsons had inadvertently left their feeding and cleaning syringes at the sideshow the day before, and so were unable to save Mike,
Oh.
the poor chicken.
So in other words, he probably could have kept on going
Yeah. For
how indefinitely, pretty
Well,
much.
however long a chicken lives. Man.
Yeah.
and now in Fruita, Colorado, they have an annual Mike the Headless Chicken Day,
Okay.
which is the third weekend of May.
Okay. So
We'll have to
mark your calendars.
Events held include the 5K Run Like a Headless Chicken, the egg toss,
Okay.
pin the head on the chicken, the chicken cluck off, and chicken bingo, in which chicken droppings on a numbered grid choose the numbers.
Would the chicken cluck off be won if someone goes up there and gurgles?
Yes, I think so.
I
would vote for that.
yeah. As opposed to the normal. Yeah,
I like it.
a blood curdling
Choking gurgle.
Oh.
Poor Mike, I feel bad now. Okay, well, yeah.
So the conversation arose because we were talking about like the foods we were eating for Thanksgiving, and I never butchered anything. I'm from a suburb of Chicago, never butchered anything, and I feel though as if I probably could. Like I've never been squeamish per se when it comes to that sort of thing. I prepare food. Handling meat for cooking or something like that, is fine. So I feel like I'd be able to do it. When I was in Africa, I went hunting with a local tribe, and I saw them throw a dik on an open fire, and its skin finally burst, and so like this sack of intestines was starting to boil and pop out, and I'm like, I'm fine. You had vegans and vegetarians off to the side who were about to throw up and look white as ghosts, and I was okay. But I've just never done it. I've never had a reason to. And I asked them, like, so what's the easiest way? And then, like, how do you go about doing, like, plucking a chicken and things like that, or plucking a fowl of some sort? And it was suggested to me that I dip it in wax. Get a big vat of melted wax, dip said bird by hanging by the neck into the chicken, or into the wax, and then rip off as if it's someone getting a wax job at like
Good Lord.
yeah, at a beauty shop or something like that, and just pulling the feathers off that way. Have either of you butchered a bird?
I can't
Not
say.
personally. My dad butchers chickens all the time. And
Yeah.
sometimes he'll sear the feathers off. Other
Okay.
times he'll pluck them. But you got to boil it first.
Yeah, that's my grandmother. She-
Really? Okay.
Yeah, my grandma.
Does that
She,
loosen the pores?
Something. It makes
Yeah.
it easy to pluck.
yeah, my grandmother grew up raising her own animals in partly Arkansas, but she did grow up for the majority of her life in Kansas, and she would tell me that between killing squirrels and other fun things to eat, they would for chickens they'd cut the heads off and then boil them, and after they boil them, the feathers would basically fall right out.
Just really, they just come off
Yeah, you can just
in chunks and.
kind of reminds me of almost like scaling a fish.
Okay.
So I don't know. I've never done it myself.
Well, I remember the first time I ever saw someone scale a fish. They literally took a vegetable peeler
Yeah.
and just held up the fish by the tail and just went
Yeah.
and they just came right off. I'm like, that works for me.
I
you know?
going fishing, for instance, we would do that, but we would take the back of a knife and,
Okay. Yeah.
you know, like
flint and steel type
yeah, flint and steel,
scraping.
basically.
Okay.
Works pretty well. I mean, as long as it's pretty fresh, so the scales are either you'd use the actual knife blade while the fish was still wet, but if we put it in the freezer or the cooler for later and the scales started drying a little bit, you can use the back of the knife and it just flake off.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Welcome.
Hello.
This is our
Hey.
guest. Come on over here.
Sit, join us.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Eric, and I am one of the 4.
Yes.
All right, so we got some beer for you to try.
Okay, all right, let's do it.
This is
The
Deschutes Brewery Obsidian Stout.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
We were talking about Mike the Headless Chicken.
Wait. Okay. So
Okay.
look back. How much of the brain was left?
It was most of the brainstem,
Most of the brain stem.
and that was it.
Okay.
Okay. So the brain itself was gone.
Removed.
Okay. That to me that just seems really incredible.
To me, that's a testament of how dumb chickens are. And having raised
Touche.
chickens, they are dumb.
They are dumb.
Very dumb.
They remind me of sheep in that manner.
Sheep are very dumb as well.
I remember one of my friends raising show sheep, and in order to exercise them, because they would freak out, instead of actually taking them out, I would stand in the middle of the pen, and they would run on the long sides, and then look back at me and see me, and start running again. So I'd stand in there for like 10 minutes,
All right.
and they would like run, and then they'd get tired, and then I'd get out.
And forget that you were there. And
yeah, so
when they look the other way.
it was the easiest like exercising of any show animal I've ever had in my life. It was fantastic
Yeah.
because the hogs and goats and steers are just not that easy. So I was like, this is pretty awesome. Like, you're too dumb for my taste, but all right.
Well, dumb for your taste before you cook them.
Yes.
Because otherwise, you know.
And then they're done.
Yeah.
Ah.
Oh, gyros and lamb. I know you don't like it.
I don't like heroes.
Why not? Why not?
I don't like lamb. I just don't.
what about it?
Greasiness, texture.
The texture, and it is too greasy for me. Like it just
Wow.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just haven't had good lamb.
I must not have. I've been told that I have.
My
but
father-in-law
I-
gave me 4 lamb steaks the other day.
Ooh.
Hey.
And I marinated them in balsamic vinegar
Okay.
with some rosemary, about an hour, and some spices.
Ooh.
Threw them in a skillet, seared them, and popped them in the oven for just a little while.
Okay.
Good
Now-
stuff.
Deal is, every time I've ever had lamb, and I don't know if it's just the nature of the beast, every time it's ever been cooked around me, it's always had rosemary, thyme, clove.
Or mint. Mint is very
Mint.
common with the lamb.
What about other things?
To me, it's very rare to see lamb as part of, say, for instance, a mixed or chopped or ground meat. Like
Yeah.
you may have
Well, because you've got like
bison sausage
Yeah.
or venison summer sausage or
Yeah.
bear burgers or things like that. But I don't see lamb or
Hamburger.
lamb burger.
Lamb burger.
Right.
Lamb burger. Because I mean, goats. We raised goats, so we always had like ground goat and things like that. Which
Yeah.
goat is, if you've never had it, it's really lean meat. So it makes.
Love it.
Oh my gosh, when I was little and I first went to school.
Bison's pretty good.
My mom and all the teachers were afraid that I was a vegetarian because I would never eat the meat in the cafeteria.
Oh, well, it sucks.
Because I had been raised with goat, so I never really had beef.
All right, so we had a little bit of technical difficulty. The camera shut off. Yeah.
Hey, okay.
The camera shut off. Bobby was talking about non-goat meat, crappy cat food meat, or
Cafeteria.
Cafeteria
food meat.
Yes.
And and we were going from there, and then we realized we had been talking for about 10 minutes, and the camera was not even running. So here we are. Jesse has dipped into the Guinness. We have put a much greater dent in the Manischewitz.
Yes. Fantastic.
And here we are again. So, one thing that I want you to talk about again, the pink slime.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys recall the uproar about pink slime, and it's tied to cafeteria food as far as what they're putting in the hamburger meat, yada 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 yada. I don't think we captured this part of the conversation, but as Dave was talking about ingredients in dog food and how it's bone meal and where bone meal comes from, and we got talking about the leftover bits of meat that were put into various things like hot dogs, yada yada, and that brings up the topic of pink slime, which has been very
Reminds me of Slimer from Ghostbusters.
right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So not very appealing name.
Very negative connotation.
Very negative connotation, and not a lot of people know exactly what that is. And from my best understanding, what pink slime really is during the normal butchering process, you'll have tons of fat or bone cut off, and there's still good pieces of meat that are attached to the bone, to the tendon, that sort of thing. So they'll grind it up, and they'll throw it into a centrifuge, which will then spin it and separate it into its constituent parts. And then they'll collect the meat, since it's a different density. They'll homogenize it as far as texture and size. Then they'll have a couple of puffs of ammonia on it, which sterilize it.
Yep.
I don't know, there was a special on TV, some guy explaining pink slime, and what he did was he threw like 3 or 4 pounds of hamburger into a washing machine filled with ammonia and said, "This is what you're doing." That's not the case at all. It's just a couple of really gentle, brief puffs.
Ammonia's in a lot of things.
Well, I mean, ammonia is a naturally occurring substance. I mean, we produce ammonia.
Yeah.
I mean, in urine, you've got ammonia, urea, I mean, things like that. Actually, that's why you have to be careful. If you ever decide that you have to relieve your bladder and then notice that you want to clean your toilet bowl, you have to be careful spraying Clorox afterwards, because urea and chlorine react to create ammonia gas, which will kill you. That's not good.
All right then.
I told my wife cleaning the bathroom was going to kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See. Mark that down. Cannon fodder.
Take note.
For further debates on that, I guess you could say. Roommate situations, spousal situations, significant other situations.
Don't make me clean the bathroom, it'll kill me.
It will kill me.
Yeah.
It will be the death of me.
Yes. I actually do not like cleaning
No.
whatsoever.
Well,
I mean, for the longest time, me stepping over stuff to get to my bed made me feel way more comfortable than if my bedroom was clean.
I like my organized chaos.
Yeah, because like I like piles because things that I use often
Goes on
are
the
on
pile.
the top of the pile,
Yeah.
and so things that I don't use that often are on the bottom of the pile.
Yep.
And it's an organization system in and of itself.
Are you a neat freak, Eric?
By no means.
I think I'm what I call a failed neat freak.
Why failed?
Because I love tidy things. Like if it's
But
spotless,
yeah, you are not tidy.
I feel better. Like when I go home to a dirty house, I feel stressed almost.
I like to have my
Really?
nice, neat pattern orders, but at the same time, I have priorities.
Well, I call
and
my-
if my priorities don't match cleaning and things at that point in time, then I'll get to it later. So normally for me, especially while still in college, the breaks are when I go through and clean and do all of my organizing and tidiness and things like that, because at that point in time, what's important to me during the semester is my work. So if I have piles of dirty clothes, I don't care. That's not what's important to me right now.
Yeah,
I'll get to it. It'll be fine.
you'll get to it.
I'll promise. It'll be okay.
So what were you gonna say?
Well, being a failed neat freak, so I have such a high standard of what I consider clean that I am discouraged because I often cannot live up to my own standards. So I say, just screw it.
Well, this is the man out of the group that has the Dyson vacuum.
I love.
know.
That is the
I
one
know.
thing. That's the one thing I got for our wedding that I was
So
giddy,
jealous.
giddy as a schoolgirl. I vacuumed the living room 3 times, and it's one of the ball ones. I was just like, yeah, you know, it had little attachments. I was like vacuuming.
I'm jealous.
It was incredible.
Absolutely jealous.
Now, do they sell like aftermarket parts that you can like soup up your Dyson with?
Turbos, man, turbos. That's what it says.
My Dyson import. Okay?
Well, the great thing is you don't need aftermarket parts because it's so space age. I mean, everything you need,
Hey,
it's got.
you can soup up a Ferrari if you want.
It could almost make me a sandwich.
Almost. Yeah.
I'd soup up my Ferrari if I still had one. I mean, you know, whatever.
I still have one.
If I had one, if I still had one. If I had one in general, I would soup it up.
So have you named your? So tell the viewers about your car.
I dabble a little bit in classic cars and fun things like that. And recently, I came across, for a wonderful price, a 1962 Mercury Monterey Custom.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
4-door coupe hardtop. It's a land yacht. I feel like I can't drive it unless I'm wearing a captain's hat. I mean,
Which you own.
Which you should.
which I do own.
You own said captain.
Which you should not do.
Yeah.
Fantastic car. I got it is all original with the exception of the carburetor. Aside from that, though, the car is legitimately stock, all original, all old, fantastic car. When I received it, and lovely people who I bought it from, I mean, fantastic folks, but they had never really worked with cars. So I went home to visit my family for Thanksgiving, which is where I keep the car at. It's hard to deal with a car like that when you're in an apartment, and I'm paranoid. I don't want anybody to mess with it. So I keep it at my family's place back home. And I went home over Thanksgiving. My mother's birthday was Thanksgiving, so I had to be there. And I worked on it. And they had told me that they had put a new carburetor on it, but he felt like it would never hold an idle, it was running real rough and things like that. So he was like, I need to tweak the carburetor. Well, after inspection of the car, I realized that he had put a relatively nice Holley carburetor on it, which, if you're familiar with older car parts, Holleys out of the box are pretty much well ready to go. You need to do one or two things. Aside from that, you bolt them on, you're done. And upon looking at the engine, thinking, that's not quite right, I realized that the firing order for the spark plugs was completely off, which, at the point in which it was off, I was shocked that it was even running at all. So I went through for about 15 minutes, replaced the spark plug wires, put a new distributor on it, and put in the right firing order, and lo and behold, after messing with the manual choke, because it is a manual choke, it's that old, car fired right up. So once I get it to a specific point,
Yes.
what's up?
Have you named it yet?
I have not named it yet. I'm
This is to be our pipe show going.
Yeah, this is our chariot in which we will ride to the ball.
The chariot.
Yeah, which we shall ride to the ball.
Yeah.
Yes. Being a land yacht, it has bench seats in the front and back. I believe the car is close to 6.5 foot across. I can't reach the glove box at all.
That's not saying a lot.
I mean, to be fair, I'm not the biggest fan in the world, but in most cars I can reach the glove box relatively all right. I can drive and reach the glove box and not kill anybody. We'll leave it at that. This car, not a chance. So I honestly believe, especially between the seats and the trunk, I can probably fit like 2 15s with boxes in the trunk and still fit a full series of luggage and cram about 4 people in the back seat and 4 in the front. I mean, this car is
So,
massive.
are you waiting to take it out for like an actual maiden voyage before you name it?
I am.
Okay.
I want to
I need a
know.
feel for it.
Yeah.
See how she acts. Yeah.
She needs an older name. She needs a very well-respected matronly name.
Gertrude.
I got told Carol.
Okay.
I can see Carol. I'm not sold on it. I like
Caroline.
Caroline.
there you
Personally,
go.
I like Caroline.
Have you named your Jeep?
Oh no.
No?
No, it is simply the mechanism which transports me from point A.
It's not even a vehicle, it is a mechanism.
It is a mechanism.
Wow, this has really been demoted.
It's a machine.
It's not demoted because it contains half of my pipe shop. So
Yeah.
Oh, fair.
Have you named your truck?
I have not. It's been giving me too much
So
trouble lately,
currently,
so
I am the only one with a named vehicle. I have a 2000 Chevy Silverado,
Yes.
and when I was going through Big Bend National Park, where I'm doing my master's thesis research on camel spiders, I was going over boulders and
Very large rocks.
Yes. These were maybe at best hiking trails that were named roads. And so a lot of times I was trying to comfort the truck to make sure I would survive what I was doing. And I'm like, atta girl. And eventually that just kind of morphed into her name, which is now Annabelle.
Annabelle. Okay.
So I'm like, Annabelle, there's a good girl, Annabelle. So, and it really works for me.
That's fair. I have a four-door 2001 Ford F-150.
Okay, so you had named that one.
Yeah, that was the name. And it's got a 6-inch body lift and 34-inch tires. It's a large truck, but it's black. It's two-tone black with the bottom tan.
He has to high jump into the driver's seat.
Basically, I need a pole. I need a vault.
Yeah.
I have to pole vault into it. Her name is Monica.
Monica.
It works. Before this, I had a 1982 Chevy El Camino that was souped up more for the drag strip. Midnight blue, lowered, very nice car. Her name was Stacy.
Okay.
So, kind of.
First car I ever got was Mercury Sable.
Ooh.
It was my mom's, and then my brother's, and then mine. And it was one of the old Sables that had like the entire front bumper of the car is one light. Yeah, it's not two headlights,
No,
it's just
it's
one light.
Yeah, okay.
And
Okay.
her name was Betsy.
Betsy.
The speedometer only went up to 85 miles an hour.
Yeah, buddy.
I don't think I ever got anywhere close to that. Which is odd because in the Chicago suburbs, all of the highways speed limits are 55 miles an hour. But if you're not going 70, you're driving dangerously slow.
Wow.
So I was pushing it with Betsy, oftentimes driving to the city and things like that.
The El Camino pegged out at 80. I have gotten it, according to a Garmin, up to 111.
Where?
We won't talk about that.
Okay.
We don't need to talk about
The
that.
Mercury,
Don't you worry about that.
although it is a 1962, the speedometer of the Mercury goes up to 120. So, and to put a little backstory, it has a really interesting engine in it. It has what's known as the Ford Edsel block. Ford produced this engine for about 8 years. Instead of most engines, it is technically a big block, but most engines of the same category weigh around 550 to 600 pounds. They're made with steel, some cast iron parts, some aluminum parts, things like that. They use different metals to make them up. Large form factor, but relatively not terribly heavy compared to small block engines. A Ford Edsel block, however, from top to bottom, including all parts in it, are made of cast iron. So this block, although being a big block in the same category as others, so the equivalent of the block, I have a Ford Edsel 352, which is about a 5.7 liter engine, and the equivalent of it would be a Ford Cleveland 351, which is the same size. A Cleveland 351 weighs about 590 pounds. My block weighs closer to 890 pounds because it's cast iron. And also, and funny enough, talking about the Speedo going up to 120 in this car, I have the small one out of this line. And the 352 is the small one.
And they're all cast iron.
They're all made, actually, the only difference between mine all the way up to the 426 is stroke and bore. They use the same heads, they use the same block, they just changed the size of the cylinders and how deep they went. So from mine all the way up to the Galaxy...
I'm glad someone
It had to be done. It had to be said.
It had to be
It had to
said.
be said.
Eventually, at some point or another.
Yes, so the only difference between this block and the Galaxy 500 Police Interceptor 426 is the size of the carburetor and the bore. So my engine is very much capable
Of actually hitting that 100.
of hitting that 120. The car may feel like it's shaking apart. Yeah, I mean, which I won't feel much of it because it's
Hold
not.
together.
Yeah, which I won't feel much of it because it's not power steering. So it's gonna be. Yeah, but. Yeah, basically. But this car is about 4,800 pounds dry weight. That's nobody in it, no gas, anything like that. This car is 2.5 tons.
Jeez. This is the
The Mercury.
Mercury is,
Yeah.
is this. Oh,
It's
shit.
2.5, and like I said, 900 pounds of that is the engine. Like, the car's a land yacht. Like I said, I feel like I need to have a captain's license to drive it.
You should see if you can get like.
Matter of fact,
Leave-
on that note, please don't drive it without your captain's license.
Yes. No, I feel though that you need to get one of those like yacht style horns though. If you do it, we're like.
You know, right now, because the dash is
Please put
apart,
pull string on too.
pull string. You know, and right now I was sad because
It's like a tugboat on wheels.
yeah, like I was so sad too because the dash is torn apart right now, which is all original. Everything on this car is original. So I have the original 35-pound like gauge cluster, which is made of chrome. Actually, it's chromed.
Hell yes.
Awesome. But all of it's torn apart, so I don't know how fast I'm going, I don't know how much gas I have, I don't know how hot the car is, I don't know anything. And part of that, which is the original steering wheel, the main horn cluster is gone right now. So I have no horn. And it breaks my heart because I've seen like the horns inside the engine
And it's
compartment,
massive.
and there's 2 of them. So this thing has got the high tone and the low tone.
Oh
So
god.
it's gonna be it's gonna be spectacular.
So you either need well first you need to hook that up and see what it sounds like.
Yes.
And if it's not up to snuff.
If it's just not quite big.
No,
No, please God, no.
No. One of those old jalopy.
Yes. Okay. Which the car is the original baby blue, but the interior is the midnight blue, which can't stop with these cars. So I need some body work done to it. I need a little chrome work done to it. I'm gonna repaint the car eventually. So I'm gonna have. I have a better idea.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about it in a minute.
Yeah.
But I also want to hear your ideas.
Hey!
Oh,
We'll get there.
involvements, which we're gonna get like one comment plus four.
I don't care. Your pink slide's wrong. You're going to hell. Whatever. All right. Hey. Let us know.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yes.
I may not listen to you. There's no guarantee.
Probably not. Knowing you,
Yeah, knowing me, I do what I want.
you're a bit ADD when it comes to fixing things.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the kitty.
I'm the tinker around here, so I'll be like, oh, let's wire this. Ooh, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Ooh, and then, yeah.
And next thing you know, you have a blender in your center console.
Don't tempt me. I could fit a full bar in this car.
It probably had one stock. This is the 60s. This is the free martini lunch era.
I know.
Right?
It has heater. It has built-in AC. It does not have power steering.
Yeah.
Which I'm like,
That's
oh,
not important.
no, it's not important. I'm
If it had a full
comfortable.
bar, it was okay.
You know, and actually, I was watching with my mom. She's a big country fan, and we were watching the Garth Brooks Live in Vegas special
Oh,
over
that
Thanksgiving,
thing.
which was actually really good.
Yeah.
Garth Brooks is actually a fantastic performer.
He's one of the best I've seen.
He's fantastic. And he was talking about old cars like this car, land yachts, when trips were not measured in distance as much as how many 6-packs your dad went through while getting there. It's a 2 6-pack trip. And I feel like this in this car. Like, this isn't, we're just going to kind of point in the general direction. We'll get there.
Yeah. Now, heaven help us if it ever breaks down and we have to push it.
Oh God.
Actually, I have pushed it by myself. Thing rolls like a charm.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's, and
If you break down downhill.
if I break downhill, there's no stopping it.
Oh god. Oh no.
Then
Wait.
heaven help us.
It has, no, see, the deal is, it has power brakes. So if the car dies,
Really?
Oh dear.
we're fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna stop it like a 2.5-ton monstrosity.
Pull out like a violin and go down with the shit playing.
Basically.
It's been a good ride.
Yeah. The thing is though, whatever we hit is gonna be screwed more.
You know, and that's the deal, is like the car is not gonna be taken out by anything. It's iron and steel and chrome, like full chrome. I mean, the back lights, the tail lights, the housings for the tail lights weigh 13 pounds a piece.
God dang.
Like,
I was like, God damn.
this car,
Yeah.
the only reason it has whiskey dents on the driver or on the passenger side is because you have to maneuver a land yacht.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have whiskey dents on the passenger side, that meant you probably didn't drive the thing at all.
Yeah.
And even then, you'd have to take out
Alright.
poles to get this.
So hold on. I am not familiar with car terminology such as colloquialisms
As
like
dents.
whiskey dents. What are
Dents
whiskey
on the
dents?
doors.
Dents? Oh, that's what it
Yeah,
is?
like-
Okay.
like dents
I
and
wasn't
scrapes.
sure, like,
Yeah.
this is like, you know, we were talking about six-pack trips, whiskey beds being, you know,
Rex,
yeah,
whiskey
like,
bottle or
no, like
Like-
you measure how much you partake the night before by how many dents you wake up to the next day. Like that style whiskey dents.
Yes.
I didn't know.
Both.
Okay, I'm like, where does this term come from?
That's actually where the term whiskey dent comes from. It's normally represented now by like door dings, small fender benders, things like nothing crazy on the car.
Okay.
But that's where whiskey dents came from, where, I've had a little too much to drive, I scraped a pole.
It's no longer a.
For lack of a better term.
It's a whiskey dent. It's
Yeah.
alright.
And let's just keep on going. And so it's stuck. But
Did you realize you hit something? I hit something? Like,
you're not going to feel it. Yeah, when? Yeah.
now we do not condone drinking and driving.
Heavens no.
No. But
It's dangerous.
now I would like to really kind of touch on that. What irks me is how blood alcohol
Content.
levels
Okay, yeah.
are measured.
Okay.
Because it's not standardized. I'm the scientist. Everything needs
Has to be standardized.
Has to be standardized. You have controls, and then you have the variables. And to me, everyone's blood is a variable.
Yeah.
Everyone's weight, everyone's. And
Not only that, but bodies naturally produce alcohol when they break down sugars. Like in
Yeah.
the stomach. Like, you're gonna have alcohol in your system.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. So, it's trace amounts, but the deal is, even I've seen breathalyzers get thrown off by eating peanuts and Gatorade.
I've never tried it because I've never been pulled over for drinking and driving because I don't do it. But I have heard that if you have been drinking and you happen to have some Copenhagen and you get pulled over and they do a breathalyzer, you put a dip of Copenhagen in before, and it's supposed to throw the whole thing off, and they can't do it because it throws the whole
As
text.
like a sponge or something.
What, like,
I don't know. I don't know how it does it. I think just
first of all, I don't think I would ever try that.
No.
Because one, I'm never going to drink and drive. But two, Copenhagen's gross as
oh,
shit.
I love it.
I'm sorry.
It's fantastic.
I'm working at this tobacco shop. I set up hookahs, and the shisha tobacco that we use for that is pure tobacco leaf that's been cut, and then mixed with food-based glycerin, or food grade glycerin, I should say,
okay.
and then honey flavoring, things like that. And it's
All natural.
This
All natural, yes.
mess of gunky,
It's
gooey
Gloopy.
grossness. And to me, all I'm thinking of is this is before someone's been chewing on something, to where I just can't imagine what other kinds of tobacco after it's been stewing in your own juices for a while.
Yeah, that's-
is like.
It's definitely something.
It's always something.
It's definitely something.
No, you've tried it, right?
I've done it.
Oh, okay.
I've done it for years.
I've never had the great misfortune, because I don't use dip, I've never had the great misfortune of accidentally drinking from the dip cup.
Have you?
I have not, but I have contributed to the dip cup, and my
Then-
friend does that
Oh!
at the movie. And through the straw, he took a drink through the straw, thinking he'd be slick drinking my Coke. Yeah, he didn't like that.
Oh. So wait, okay, so
I find it interesting that we all partake in
Different types of tobacco.
all sorts of tobacco products, but Eric is the only one who's done dip, and
Yes.
I believe you don't do it anymore.
No, I've quit twice.
Yeah!
Alright, so because we
I guess the closest I've gotten is I've had
Yes.
a packet of snus from Eric once.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't for very long.
Snus
And
has very little nicotine content.
Yeah.
It was flavored.
You've had cigarettes, yes? You smoked cigarettes before? No.
Once, twice,
Okay.
maybe.
Some people get buzzes from cigarettes. Never have I ever gotten a
never.
buzz from a cigarette.
No, me
but
neither.
from what I've been told from people that have, the buzz from a single pinch of snuff or dip, if you will,
yeah.
produces probably 10 times the buzz of cigarettes.
Well, a lot of that is just like how you're
It's going directly into the bloodstream through
how
your
you're
gums.
taking it in because
Because
especially
there's fiberglass
exactly
in
and
the
it
dip.
cuts the inside of your gums and
Exactly.
cuts the inside of your lips so
Yes.
that you just intake like your blood just takes in the
yeah.
nutrients.
That does bring up actually an interesting question for me.
What's
the
that?
fact that dip and snuff is so highly attributed to mouth cancer. Is it the tobacco or is it the fiberglass?
probably a combination of the both, of the two.
Well, but and that to me
Because then I guess the tobacco is getting its remnants inside of your gums.
festering in what's pretty much an
But
open wound.
the same thing. I mean, they say you get mouth cancer from cigars or any kind of smoke, so it's the same thing.
First of all, you don't get cancer
No.
from anything besides chemicals that just full on. They do a drop of this chemical on a cell and it instantly
Really
mutates.
causes
right?
cancer.
Anything that is said to quote unquote give you cancer just elevates your risk of contracting cancer
causing mutations
or
in the cell.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like I'm
'Cause
sorry.
that's all cancer is.
Yeah, it's just mutations. Like you right now have cancer cells in your
my
body, and your
Yeah.
immune system is just taking care of it.
Exactly.
And for those people that are that happen to actually get into later stage cancers, like it's just because their body was not able to take care of it beforehand.
Yes.
So I but anyway, going back to the different types of tobacco.
Yeah.
We smoke pipe tobacco, all of us.
We smoke cigars.
We smoke cigars, all of us.
We've all partaken in nasal
We all
snuff.
do nasal
And when we say snuff, we are always talking about nasal snuff.
Dry,
Yes.
powdered, only tobacco and flavoring nasal snuff.
Yes, not dip stuff.
No. It's commonly referred, like, especially around here in the Panhandle.
Yeah,
it's snuff.
They
Like,
call it
it's dip
snuff.
snuff.
But it's
Yeah.
dip.
Yeah.
To us, it's dip.
Right.
It's
For us.
sake of conversation, yes.
Yeah.
Well-
If we ever refer to snuff, we're talking nasal snuff. If we
Yes.
ever refer to dip, we're talking
Chewing
common
tobacco.
To dip.
dip. Yeah.
Chewing tobacco.
Yeah. Yep. Sure.
And I feel like maybe me watching the movie The Sandlot growing up really kind of turned me off to dipping and chewing tobacco.
Red man.
Because of that one.
Cha!
He's like holding it out.
Red
Like,
man.
I mean, like it looks like they're holding golf balls in their cheeks,
And
like squirrels.
For me, I will say I got up to a rather large dip of snuff.
Yeah.
But never have I done a half a can, which
Yeah.
I've seen people do, which is ungodly.
Yeah.
You know, growing up, he worked for my grandfather. He's very much a grandfather to me. His name was Archie,
Okay.
and he had dentures, but he never wore them. He hated them. So whenever this man chewed, I mean, I shit you not, his chin was like touching his nose. He had this big old, like, crooked old man nose and a big old chin. So I mean, it was like
It's an overchew.
overchew, and he loved.
He gummed it.
Yeah, he loved
It's like a
chewing tobacco. Yeah, and then that was his deal. Was he carried this pouch of chewing tobacco all the time?
Now,
and I mean, it was, you know, back of the chin. You're
See,
like,
there's a difference between chewing tobacco and dip.
Yes.
Dip is finer cut. It can be even almost like
I mean,
powder.
these were like leaves.
Really?
Yes.
Really? Oh,
Chewing
okay.
tobacco is actually longer leaves.
I was
You
gonna say,
actually-
this was like
So it's like more like ribbon cut almost.
ribbon. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
it's-
it's like wide ribbon, and that was his. Like he opened it up. I mean, it was like
But
quarters
that
of
stuff
leaves.
smells so good.
Does it?
Oh, yes.
Well, I mean,
Chewing
it
tobacco?
smells like.
Oh, it
I mean, it
smells
smells like
fantastic.
pipe tobaccos. And stuff. I mean,
So it's
just
pretty much just like
It's a really
Well, have
thick-
you ever chewed on some of your pipe tobacco?
no. I've never been so inclined.
Try it. Not like in a massive quantity, but just take a little leaf.
Little
and,
pincher.
and
I tried that once with some Mac Baron Symphony, and it was hot.
I tried that with some Latakia.
Oh.
I got some blending Latakia that play around with things.
Yeah.
And yeah, but it's warm. Very warm.
Those Virginians, like in the Mac Baron. Yet again, our camera went off. Sorry, we'll get there.
We'll get it figured out.
So
This is our last 5 to 10 minutes.
yeah, we're
Nothing
a little
crazy.
bit late. And we all got work in the morning. Right?
Yeah.
I don't
I
for
do.
once.
You don't.
I do.
Yeah, nothing right now.
You lucky son of a bitch.
I know.
Yes,
I know.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm running wire later, so.
Ah.
So, I guess to wrap things up, you guys got a snapshot of what prima facie goes on here at the shop.
And how our discussions evolve.
We haven't had very many deep conversations, just pretty much face value. But as we have different expertise, we talk about things pretty deeply and solve all the world's issues, as I'm sure happens at every smoke shop.
pretty much.
It
Pretty
should
much.
happen at every smoke.
Yeah, I'm kind of the political guy. Bobby's technology and
I'm
economics,
science
scientist, and Eric's the art man.
The, the artiste.
The artiste.
The artiste in the bunch.
So hopefully you will enjoy our conversations and maybe glean something from them as we maybe delve into maybe the metaphysical / philosophical side of things, and as we just act like complete idiots.
Amazing.
Here, here.
Hopefully at the same time.
Hopefully the same time.
Absolutely.
All in all, we felt that we enjoy our conversations enough that we thought maybe you would too.
Yeah.
Why
Leave
not?
comments, leave thoughts, leave prompts for other discussions.
If you don't like it, you don't have to watch.
So, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time for I said through the smoke at the beginning, so through the smoke!
Through the smoke.
Through the smoke at the Canyon Tobacco Shop. Thank you so much.